Greetings and welcome to a Friday edition of the Shotgun Start. It is May 23rd. Joseph, how we doing?
Brendan! I'm excited for this one. Used to coming on for something like a Zurich Classic, and we got the Senior PGA. I'm hopeful that a high-profile event. Not used to this. This is kind of uncharted waters, but I'm ready to go, ready to chop it up with the boys. The Wi-Fi is bad. It's perfect.
It's a major week. The boys are back on a Friday. Andy was, mulling about in Texas. He's like, we can record then, but just do the boys. It'll be better. I think it might be. We're going to end up, we got a lot to chew on, a lot of material. The notebook is full. PJ, you're here. You're fresh off the boat. Not from Europe, not through Ellis Island, but fresh off the boat from Fenway Park, essentially. You just gotta get the boats out of your life. But I realize you live on an island. You can't swim. You chose to live on an island.
I almost just took the ferry for the sake of the content of having to report that I took the ferry on this podcast. But yeah, it got.
You said you were seasick. It was very choppy or something.
It's not nice out today. We're getting like 2 inches of rain. It's just disgusting, windy. The sea was angry this day, my friends. It was bad. It was really. I almost got a little sick on the ferry there, but we rallied. We're ready.
You're back from Boston. The Mets got a dub at Had you been to Fenway prior to this week? Have you done that?
Yeah,
I guess you've been to Noah Khan.
Noah Khan. But the last time I went to a game was like almost 10 years ago, so it was great.
Okay. All right. So you're home. Are you coming to DC tomorrow for the aforementioned Senior PGA Championship?
Yeah, I believe I am. Just gonna get in the car tomorrow morning and see where the wind takes.
I can't wait. It's speaking of weather, awful down here. It's not. They're doing the old guys no favors. I mean, it's like 55, pissing down sideways all day. Rain became a prominent subject for the PGA content team. Because none other than Don Rea, who came into our lives pretty much a week ago. I mean,
what a star that has burned so bright within the last 8 days.
I'm telling you right now, PJ, loaded into the year review. We do this podcast and it begins, and we have no idea who's going to come into our lives but characters evolve. They become superstars, at least in our little corner here with Andy or whatever. We pounce on something. Just Don Rea, he's a breakout star. Put him in the year in review. We could do a Halloween costume. We could already slot him in for that. Your friend says trick or treat, and you jump in. He's like, I follow up on that. Like he's gonna
just a little bit.
He's gonna be a recurring subject. The guy, we had no clue who he was a week ago, and now he seems to be using this organization of which he represents 31,000 for
what's my personal opinion on it? There is no personal opinion. I'm the president of the PGA of America, right? I've got 31,000 members that are listening to my every word, and I'm proud to represent them.
He seems to. I have no doubt that he means well and wants the PGA to thrive. He's passionate about it and loves his members and loves the mission. But he also seems to be using his lofty perch to advance his own profile, because he delivered just a howitzer of an essay that no one asked for. Its purpose seemingly unclear. And it was tweeted out on the PGA Senior PGA account this morning. Do you have the audio? Can we run it? The script is out of this world. Don Rea just alphaing onto the content scene with this essay.
All right, gentlemen, welcome to Congressional Country Club. Today, that persistent championship testing rain is settling in. It's one of those days. That rain. It has a way of testing more than just your swing, doesn't it? This isn't just about skill anymore. It's a profound test of will, that rain. It washes away the unimportant, leaving just the essence of the fight. Experience, that's their shield. Focus, their guide. And the sound of that rain on the umbrella, their concentration. Each drop, a little nudge, stay present, shot by shot. Even the dampness in the air has a way of sharpening the senses, doesn't it? You don't fight the rain, you play through it. This isn't a round to be endured. It's a round to embrace. Victory in these conditions, it's not just won, it's weathered. It's earned. Championships aren't won on Thursday, but they can be lost.
I can't believe this. Sometimes we can be unfair. We try to be fair, but sometimes we might judge a book by its cover. I think, we were on this one. We had it pegged really from the moment we reviewed that press conference last Wednesday. What is this script? So many rhetorical questions, doesn't it? Can I follow up on that just a little bit? Doesn't it? It has a way of testing more than just your swing, doesn't it? Even the dampness in the air is a way of sharpening the senses, doesn't it? What? What is championship rain, championship testing rain versus regular rain? What does this mean? Welcome. It's one of those days, that rain has a way of testing more than just your swing, doesn't it? This isn't just about skill anymore. It's a profound test of will, that rain. It washes away the unimportant, leaving just the essence of the fight. This sounds like AI couldn't make this up. AI could not. It washes this implication here is that playing a major in sunshine is lesser of a test. It is the unimportant is prevalent when you're playing in sunshine. What's being washed away when you're playing in conditions? The unimportant just surrounds you. What is that? What's being washed away? What aspects of the unimportant?
I'm glad you're bringing up that line. That's the one. There's a lot to chew on in this transcript. That is the line that made the least sense to me. It washes away the unimportant, leaving just the essence of the fight. I have no idea what that means.
Experience, that's their shield. Focus, their guide. And the sound of the rain on the umbrella, their concentration, each drop just a little nudge, little bump, little nudge. Stay present shot by shot. He cooked here. Don Rea cooked. And I'm all for it. I think this is a guy, this probably sounded good in his own head. It probably made a lot of sense. Probably sounded real dramatic. That rain. Their shield, their guide, sharpens the focus, washing away the unimportant. It probably sounded like he was, Henry David Thoreau writing this up.
I genuinely,
Walt Whitman.
I think he just watched Wright Thompson do a couple opens for the PGA last week and was like, you know what? I'm going to do it.
I'm going to cook.
I seriously, I kind of think that's what happened.
Do you think we're getting one tomorrow?
They gotta let him cook. They gotta let him cook. Gotta let him I get it. Maybe the microscope is not as intense. He doesn't have Balionis cutting him off. He's allowed to just go this week. Do a daily essay. PJ, we gotta have it, right? Should we do our own essays, our own Rea in person? When you come down here, I'll hold the camera for you. You can just stand there. That rough championship testing rough. Ooh, that rough.
You want me to pull over, getting gas at some sheets in the middle of Pennsylvania tomorrow, just on my way down? Just record something real quick.
He did get us with it's not just one, it's weathered. He got us with the double entendre there about how you're weathering the storm and not just one. So the championships, but they can be lost. They're not won on Thursday, but they can be lost. That's sort of a tried and true. You can't win it on the first day, but everybody knows you can lose it. Well,
as somebody said, is that a personal opinion of Don's that you can't win it today?
That. Someone did tweet
that.
Tony
That is the only reply to the tweet on Twitter currently. That question
didn't get a lot of action. Don Rea, the essay didn't get a lot.
Me and you were the first two retweets. I think
very
maybe
popular,
the only two.
The shotgun start corner, I guess. Someone said that really sounds like an opinion. You were just a week ago telling us what's my opinion. I don't have an opinion. I can't have opinions. I'm not.
What's my personal opinion on it? There is no personal opinion. I'm the president of the PGA of America.
And then someone responded to me, Don Rea Thompson. Don Wright Thompson is what with double entendre on his name. I can't believe this for the Senior PGA. An incredible essay. Don Rea, please just keep it coming. Keep it coming. A main character has emerged in our golf lives. On the substantive matter at Congressional, Soren Kjeldsen, who called it 5 under through 7, just turns 50 and immediately comes on and moving boys out of the paint.
A demon. Immediate dividends. 5 days into being 50 years old, immediately in contention at a major.
Oh, are you watching any of this today, Lamagna? Have you watched any Senior PGA Championship? They had the Jacobson and Rolf and the whole crew out there.
Rolf,
I have been watching the leaderboard. I've been watching the Schwab and taking some notes on PGA Tour Live. Don't even know if we'll get to them. I feel like we have a full plate today.
No, we got a lot. We want to get to. We don't have that much. We're talking about Don Rea video essays that nobody asked for. I mean, that's important stuff for this corner. It's playing Oak. I've really come to like Congressional more and more. I will be full disclosure. I did not like it very much before the work. I've played it a handful of times and didn't really like it. I've really like it. I think it's like a cool. It's cool land. I think it's a good variety of holes. I know
Have you ever played it in the rain?
What?
Have you ever played it in the rain?
I think so. I think I've played it in mist. Apparently, Podrick said the rough there is substantially higher than last week. Now he's sampled. He can A/B test this. He's done both. Substantially higher than Quail Hollow. So that's gotta. I mean, but a lot of guys are saying it's quote unquote generous off the tee for them. They are. I mean, the greens have slope in them, so they're trying to put the hammer down and in the same way Xander was trying to get the PGA to capitulate into ball in hand. Golf is not. This is Stu Sink, played well. He's got his the club pro there. John Scott Rattan is his teaching pro, not the teaching pro or head of instruction, whatever title. Congressional has a lot of guys and a lot of titles and director of this, director of that, head of this. They've got a lot of staff there. The great staff, not bad, but I probably messed up his title. But Sink has his teacher there. So golf is supposed to be real easy if you don't keep it sort of on the straight and narrow. And this course has a lot of challenges, but there's a lot of clever design work out there. I'm sure the PGA is going to be quite conscious of the slopes and everything with the hole locations. I don't think they're intending to be kind of embarrassing anybody, because you could out here. We also had Ollie talk about the severity of the slopes. Had several guys, somebody else talking about the severity of the slopes. Said PGA is going to be quite conscious of the slopes with these hole locations. PJ, you might have to hit the Law and Order button on that one. He's calling it out. Great greens out there. They've got some great greens. But the old boys don't want slope. They don't probably get that at the regions. They don't want slope at Congressional. What do you make of that, Joseph?
Well, I mean, that's modern golf, right? You got a good quote from Neil Shipley this week talking about Colonial kind of has the old school look with a lot of slope in the greens, but it plays modern where the slopes aren't too fast. There's not too much slope that you can't you reduce your pinnable areas. So that's modern golf, not a lot of slope. I like it.
They're just calling it out. Like you would think these guys showed up at some, ski resort, the way they talk about the severity of these slopes. And it's just, I imagine on the Champions Tour, it's even more sort of pancaked, right? PJ, any other headlines, early headline? I didn't intend to go Senior PGA first, but Don Rea just sort of led us there. Any other headlines we need to watch early on? It's been just a awful day, very cold and rainy last 2 days.
I think you got to put Ernie as a big contender here. Obviously has a win at Congressional already, but in the house of the 69, it seems like it's good, pretty tough scoring conditions in the rain, especially for the morning group out here. Not that many guys under par. Soren is leading at 5 right now, so it's not like anybody's burning the place down at the moment.
Did you
TJ,
see the Ernie?
pardon my ignorance. In terms of contenders and pretenders, is Mario Tiziani, who's T3, is that a contender or pretender?
I'm unfamiliar with Mario's game.
Mario,
I gotta be honest.
Yeah, Mario's been around the block. Mario Tiziani. It's the fair police are going to be out. I just hope they let it actually challenge the old guys. I don't know. Ernie had a great quote. I don't know if he backhanded meant it. I tweeted it out. Tried to save it on the downswing. They're asking him, like, does it matter where you win your majors? Like, does it matter? Like, I think it doesn't, but it does. I know that sounds like a total punt, but if you win at St. Andrews or the Old Course, you call it out, right? You win a Masters, you call it out. You win a U.S. Open at Oakmont, you call it out. If you win a PGA or U.S. Open, you call it out still. But I don't think you can negatively. I don't think you can negatively dock a major, but you can elevate one. Does that make sense? Like, maybe I'm just being very soft and benevolent in my old age, but a major's still a major. I think you can add a little extra, like, cherry on top when you talk about it at a elite event. But
what's
Ernie,
what's the venue you would be least jazzed to win a major championship at?
You look through some of the archives in the PGA, and it's just like, it's PGA National, places like that, Belle Reve, Firestone, places like that. It's a good question. In the modern, like in this modern Rhoda or the next 10 years, seems like you have one in mind when you ask that question.
I just you were team. It sounded like you were ready to take a shot at somebody, so I was.
No, I was trying to be positive. Ernie took a shot. I don't know if he meant to. So does it matter where you won? I was lucky enough to have won at good ones. I've only won 4. So those 4 are Oakmont, Congo, Muirfield, Lytham. That's a good question. But I don't think you absolutely should care. It's not up to you where they put the venues. You play good enough and win a major. If you win it at Torrey Pines, so be it. It seems like not just a backhanded compliment, but for Ernie, a right-hand hook from 20,000 feet in the air on the private jet. Ernie trademark punch. If you win a major, if you win at Torrey Pines, so be it. Not meaning Torrey Pines is not a good golf course. It's a different kind of golf course. Tried to save himself there. Tried to get it back. But no, you take a major where you can get one. I promise you, which is true. It is true. That said, I think, winning a Senior PGA Congressional seems notable. So it's a major. It's hosted many majors. We'll see what they do for the Ryder Cup coming up in 10 years from now. Long ways away. Any other Senior PGA notes, PJ, we want to get to early on?
Not yet. Westy's making the turn at 2 under right now for Andy. If Andy listens to this, we'll see where he ends up. But
he better compete. I mean, that would be an indictment on the sticks, the magic sticks. If he can't play with the old guys, can't play with the senior tour. What do you want to see when you get down here?
What do you mean? What isn't an indictment on the sticks? Coming in last every week? Like, what do you mean? Like, shouldn't their existence kind of be one?
Fair, but this is like another competitive environment in which we can judge. Like,
well, you're a cliques guy, so you're now peacocking around because you're the defending champion. I understand that aspect at least, but
I got a cliques branding survey where they're trying to get their one word to describe the cliques.
Bland.
No, it's like timeless, gentleman, like all these words. It was like market research. It's like, because you're such a big fan of the cliques, can you take this survey? I was like, absolutely. Yes, I can. And I went through the whole thing. I'll post, maybe we'll talk about it. I posted the sequencing of the questioning. I forget what I suggested my own. It was like class or something like that. I forget what it was, but the words were ridiculous. Timeless, gentleman. I said they're good blokes, good chaps. They do things in a subtle and understated way. It was real, actual market research they were trying to get from their newsletter. Yeah, Westy coming around on the outside. He's T10. So that's all I have to say about the Senior PGA. I think it's not a bad watch. It's a prominent golf course. One thing I am fired up about a little bit is Colonial. Lamagna, you tweeted last night that the Colonial to Memorial stretch is like a really interesting one. I think probably because it It's a different kinds of tests. It examines a few different skills. And I tweeted from the shotgun start, just kind of stirring the pot, being cheeky. Is the worst venue of the last 4 weeks or the 4-week stretch on tour the one where they had the major? Meaning Philly Cricket, Quail, Colonial, a historic place, and Memorial, which I know has history and the data boys like you love. I'm fired up for Colonial in a way. What makes it so unique that you like this 2-week stretch, or makes it interesting, I guess?
Well, yeah, I love Memorial. I'm sure we'll have some content on Memorial next week and what makes it such a good test. I think Colonial, it is really cool to see firm, fast greens that play reliably firm and a decent amount of wind, where you do you have to position yourself, especially around the greens. Like if you're coming out of the Bermuda rough, you can't short side yourself at Colonial. So it requires a lot more thought than a lot of the venues on the PGA Tour. It's also something we've seen this year, an insane amount of overseed on the PGA Tour. And it is nice to watch true Bermuda rough. It almost doesn't exist anymore. So a lot I like about Colonial. You got to position yourself, can't overpower it. If you just go out there and bash it around, that's not really going to work out there. Got to be on the right sides of the holes. Can't short side yourself. Got to play positional golf. You see different types of golfers succeed here. It's a cool test.
Yeah, no, it is. Cool test. I forgot to mention this at the top. We have a Memorial Day sale going on right now. That's a hard segue. That's a really hard segue. I'm on the fritz here, just kind of jumping around. We do have our Memorial Day sale in the pro shop. They told us to say this at the top. We always forget our own plugs. We got new merch, new sale, events. We forget it every time. I feel terrible. Memorial Day sale, 15% off. What's the code? MEMDAY? MEM Day? Is that it? I believe, PJ? MEMDAY 15 at the checkout. Golf bags and coffee are excluded. I wonder why. I need to ask them about that. Why don't you get 15% off the golf bag? MEMDAY 15 at checkout. We've got prints. We've got new prints from the old course, Ely, Bandon, all the Bandon courses, new sexy photography from recent trips to those spots. So go to MEM. It could be a Father's Day gift, a nice little print that way. Got a bunch of hats. So MEMDAY, MEMDAY 15 in the pro shop. Boom, knocks 15% off your entire whatever cart. Go ahead.
Sale items are also included. So if you're into the, I know we've had some struggles with double sale math on this show before, I won't get into the numbers. But if you're into that kind of thing, you can get the double sale.
We have. Love that. Also at Colonial, the leader, the top storyline is Scottie Scheffler. Scotty, I thought, had some interesting quotes on Wednesday. Finally met the press. He was asked what sounded like a local, reporter or newspaper guy about yo, man, why can't we get both sides together? When's this just going to happen? And he had a pretty blunt, direct, completely justifiable response. PJ, do you have the audio for that?
So on behalf of golf fans everywhere, do you have any idea where the tours are in terms of potentially merging so you guys might get a chance to play together more often?
I don't really know. That's for the higher-ups to decide. And, I've said it a few times this year. If you want to figure out what's going to happen in the game of golf, go to the other tour and ask those guys. I'm still here playing the PGA Tour. We had a tour where we all played together, and the guys that left, it's their responsibility, I think, to bring the tours back together and, go see where they're playing this week and ask them.
Thank you.
Pretty direct, harsh for Scotty, hot for Scotty, but he's kind of kept himself out of the fray. Wasn't really the prominent player he was necessarily when it really started to get heated. I think he had won the Masters when, guys just started to leave in that June. What do you make of those comments, Lamagna?
He has said essentially that before, not
totally.
Verbatim, but a very
Players
similar
last
quote.
Year.
Yeah. I think my overall takeaway from it is that Scotty's really coming into his own and feeling comfortable voicing his opinion. He's at the Dallas Stars game last night, right before the opening round at the Schwab, comes out, eagles the first hole. He's just kind of hit a little bit of a different level of stardom and feeling comfortable in it that I think is really exciting for the game. The quote itself, not really anything new to me. I think it's interesting phrasing that the responsibility is on the LIV side to bring the game back together, because at least as far as I was aware, like that, those are both sides working on that. So it's to put it that way, that it's their responsibility, not just to answer the questions about it, but it's their responsibility to bring the game back together, was an interesting choice of words. But I don't know that any of this is particularly substantive. What do you think?
I think it's pretty substantive.
In what way? In what way?
It's his entire approach to how he thinks this should go down. He doesn't think they should be engaged. They can come engage us. That I think, like, in reality, it's in black and white. It's correct. They left. They blew it up. They can either fix it or not. I play on the tour I've always played on. They want to come back. They can come back. I think it's a pretty black and white explanation, and I don't think it's necessarily. It is faulting them for any moans about fracture, but he's not putting. It's not necessarily a critique of them, if that makes sense. It's like, if you want to come back, if you want to fix it, then that's kind of on you. I love it. I think he's in a prominent place in the game where he can say that. If I'm like John Rahm or whoever, Bryson, kind of probably feels like it's a punch, a little bit of a punch in the stomach. And I don't know. I love the answer. He doesn't get, and it has more gravitas because he doesn't get involved in this stuff. He hasn't been in any kind of pissing matches. And I don't think he's trying to be pissy here. It's like, it's the Scotty matter of fact stuff. I play on the tour. I've always played on this tour. I didn't leave. Go find the guys who left if you want to ask them about getting back together. Thought it was a great quote.
I think it reflects the tour's
unemotional.
The tour's confidence in that they don't really need a deal, right? Like Rory has said stuff to that effect. It seems like that's kind of where the tour is right now, that they think things are going pretty well right now, and they're not particularly inclined to make a deal. Scotty also, his entire press conference was interesting, as it tends to be, but he also was basically said, I get a chance to play against those guys 4 times a year, and it went pretty well last week. Like, just feeling himself a little bit. Only other note I had on that, do you know who else they asked about the status of the deal?
No. Who?
Davis Riley.
Okay.
In his pre-tournament presser. Any thoughts on where the game stands right now, Davis, and what the chances are of the two sides coming together?
That's pretty good. I mean, he's the defending champ, but what is he material to? Like, is he privy? How much is he Davis Riley privy to? Not on the board. I don't.
He said that to his credit, he did not pretend like he knew anything.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I love that. You mentioned Scotty at the Stars game. I love the Jumbotron graphic. PJ, did you see this one? He was on the Jumbotron and said 2-time Masters winner.
I almost tweeted it last night. Like, what? Like, it was literally 3 days ago. Like,
so disrespectful to Don Rea and his organization.
I mean, we might. The Dallas Sports, the American Airlines Center has seen a lot of atrocities this year. The essay that could potentially come might top the list.
I couldn't believe that. 2-time Masters. He just won, like,
not even 3-time major champion. Not even. They didn't even include it. They just totally went to the side.
I mean, I would have been okay if they disregarded the 2 Masters plays for this graphic on Wednesday. 3 days, just saying.
I absolutely would have done 2025 PGA champion. At least 3-time major winner. No. I mean, they could have done 2024 Charles Schwab Challenge runner-up even, and maybe that could have been a local tie. Who knows?
Do you think Scotty put in a request? Do you think Scotty put in a request for an afternoon tee time today? I was wondering that.
That's a fair question. I don't know. He could have. Yeah, because he was at the hockey game last night.
Planning it out. Yeah, little favor.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, they should. I mean, most guys, I think, going late early, they tend not to like that. I don't know. It depends on how you're playing and where you're at week to week. But another graphic outside the Jumbotron that I loved on PGA Tour Live. We got a screenshot sent into us today. The FedEx Cup graphics we've always just had a lot of fun with. Like, it's just how do they crowbar FedEx Cup into this broadcast? These stats that literally have no meaning. These stats, these esoteric cross tabs, check this box, and we end up with some list of 5 guys or 2 guys or 3 guys, left-handers who won in July, who've also been 5th at one point or another on the FedEx Cup standings. This is what they do because they need a FedEx Cup graphic. Today, they did one that separates, to Ernie's point, to actually run contra to Ernie's point, that separates not every major is created equal. There's our majors, and then there are majors where you move to first in the FedEx Cup standings with a major win. This was a graphic put up on the PGA Tour live broadcast. Scheffler just did this. I don't know how, given that Rory's won 3 times, a major, a signature event, and the gold standard, but Scotty did. Morikawa was the last one to do it at St. George's, winning a major, then going from 10th to 1st. DJ at the 21 Masters went from, what even was the FedEx Cup in that fall? I don't even remember like when and where we played it and the season wrapped around. Spieth and Rory. Just what an insane, preposterous graphic. Like, not only did you get a Wanamaker, no. You became the 6th player in golf history to get a trophy, but also move to first on the FedEx Cup. Just an insane PGA Tour live special.
Do you think the Stars should have gone with that instead of 2-time major champion? Could they have? Could you have fit that on a lower third, or like how
FedEx
would that
Cup,
evolve?
Number 1, I don't think they could have fixed it, fit that. To be clear, the other graphic while we're on FedEx Cup graphics from Chuck Schwab Challenge. They did lefties rankings, highest lefties in the FedEx Cup, but didn't they miss some? Who was on the graphic for highest lefties in the FedEx Cup?
They didn't miss anybody. They had a sort of arbitrary cutoff. They only listed 4 golfers. So they had Joe Highsmith, 29th. They had Brian Harmon, he's 18th. Akshay, 40th, and Robert McIntyre is 52nd. So yeah, I mean, Matt McCarty's not on here, right? They didn't put Garrick Higo on here, but those guys are lower down, so they need to play better.
What's the rationale? What's the rationale for just barfing out a sudden graphic about highest lefties in the FedEx Cup? Where I need to understand the background on that one. Anything else on Scotty? Was he plus or was he negative odds quickly when he went 3 under through 2, or did he not get to that?
He might have gotten
to win.
He might have gotten close to even money.
Okay.
No, I don't have a ton of other Scotty notes. I saw Bud Cauley is up to T2, guy you said shouldn't have been in the Players Championship. So it's good to see him still playing well.
I think I said that on text. I don't know if I put that out there for public consumption. John Pack, former Florida State Seminole, amateur great, Walker Cupper is your early leader with a 7 under 63. He had some quote about the Knicks. I know, PJ, you're still licking your wounds after that incomprehensible loss. What was his quote about the Knicks, Lamagna? John Pack.
He was saying he stayed up late. Big basketball fan, apparently. So he stayed up late to watch the Knicks game last night. They asked him what he's going to do after his lead. He said he's going to watch the Thunder tonight. So just must be a big basketball fan. But he said he's a diehard Knicks fan, and the loss last night lit a little bit of a fire under him. So maybe that's why he's the first round leader. That's a new thing for your guys' models. The gambling pod, you got to start factoring in big playoff losses of teams that players are allied with. Maybe if that lights a fire under them for some first round leader bets, people aren't thinking that way.
That's good.
So if we start getting like Bryce Young is hot takes in training camp, like Novak is making a huge push for the Ryder Cup. Like, is that where we're at here?
The PGA Tour did delete that tweet about the Panthers. Was that brought up on this pod? I feel like that was not brought up.
We brought it up very briefly
Sunday
in the middle of Sunday.
I mean, I feel bad for these social kids. Like, you got to come up with creative something, some voice, but then you get popped if you try to push the envelope. I don't know. What's wrong? Like, come on, let's just live a little.
I thought it was a funny tweet. It was a good tweet.
Other PGA Tour Live notes, Brendan. Nothing too provocative this morning on PGA Tour Live, but was just amused at the way they described the golf course a couple of times. I think they meant to just describe the par 4 as being difficult, beefy. Said it was this monstrosity of a par 3, which felt a little bit more negative than
need to go to the dictionary on that one.
Monstrosity of a par 3. And then the other line that amused me is they said, now over to the claustrophobic 5th.
Well, yeah, I mean, tight. I don't know. It feels like
it wasn't
connotes overly negative connotation.
Yeah. Not nitpicking here, but monstrosity of a par 3. I kind of chuckled at that one.
Olen Brown, Corey Pavin, and David Frost are indeed in the field. They are in the field this week. OBS, not OBJ. Olen Brown Senior was DFL, as you know, it's fully within his rights. The man is 65 years old and he's playing on the PGA Tour. He shot a 79. He's only 3 worse than Chuck Hoffman. I got to credit him. The driving distance, I was deep in the weeds on his shot link data. The driving distance was, I believe it finished 249 and a half was his average today. 249 and a half off the tee. He's laying up into par 4s. He's not getting home in par 4s. He's got, the 11th hole, which is a par 5. He hit 170 yards in on his 3rd shot. I mean, he hit it straight. He hit it just down the alley. Boom, boom. 165 yards still to go. I mean, Luke List, I looked it up, was 105 yards past him off the tee. 105 yards. Olen Brown.
I don't think all of his ball speeds got captured, but the highest one I saw was 140.2. So just to give people a little feel, like 175 tends to be, kind of a cutoff between if you have a little bit of speed or not, or a little above that, right? You got guys, Bryson coming in around 190. Olen Brown, top one I saw was 140, but it didn't catch all of them. He might have hit it a little farther on like the 6th hole, and I don't think that one picked up a measurement, but yeah, topped in at 140.
3rd hole, he had 234 off the tee. He had a 234, he had 227 in. He couldn't get home. He didn't get home on the par 4 3rd. I admire the fight. Don Rea would too, the essence of the fight. But I admire it. You got to wonder. Corey Pavin apparently spiked for a minute there this morning. I saw Kevin Price, the forever optimist, saying, "You totally couldn't compete. Here he is." Compete it leaves some ambiguity. Like, he is in fact hitting the shots. He is on the course competing. He's T110, 3 over. But for a moment there, what did he turn? And 1 under? Was that it? Was he under par at the turn? Was that the celebration that was going on?
He lived under par through 11.
Okay. So congrats to Corey Pavin for staying in the fight, or finding the essence of the fight. Do we have a Frost update? Is 2 over through 11? I have a great golf advice email from someone who played the Monday Pro-Am with David Frost. We have details of David Frost. They're great. Stick around for that in golf advice. I don't have any other Colonial thoughts. Do you? I love it. It's one of my favorites. After my heart, one of the classic sort of stops. Been there forever.
Michael Block, 2 under, T19. Think that
Block is hot.
Block is hot. Must be more.
No way.
Do we have live odds for made cut on him? Going Blocky live odds for made cut. Are we hammering that? Are we locking that in? Locking in Blocky.
Could be a new graphic for the PGA Tour to put on the leaderboard.
A block lock. Made cut. He's 2 under. What do you shoot? 68? Do you say?
Yeah, shot 68. Shot 68.
Okay. Just jamming it. You want him to go away. You hate Block, Lamont. You hate
Not
it.
At all. Not at all.
Vitriol.
Not at all. And what I'm thinking, Thursday at the Schwab is not the most packed day. So more fans tomorrow, more fans Saturday and Sunday. You should just keep shooting lower and lower scores.
Was it you that had the quip about when he made bogey? There just must not have been a crowd out there.
Yeah.
That was like that quote kind of, I know it got aggregated and picked up, but the delusion in it did not quite get the examination it deserved.
Oh, you and Dylan Block, you and Michael Block's son finding common ground. He had a big TikTok rant about how that quote was taken out of context.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. What was it? Okay. Wow. I mean, it seemed pretty thorough and contextualized when it was presented, but I guess I could be wrong. Anything else? Colonial, PJ, you good? Anything pique your fancy? You're just locked in on senior.
I was looking to see if we could find blocky live cut odds, but I could get you top 10 at plus 7,000 if you're interested in that.
Would be incredible. Be top 10 into does Memorial? No, I don't think they do that. If it's a Siggy event, he would top 10 into. When would he top 10? Canada.
Yeah, Canada.
Which he may be invited to anyway on a sponsor. He's played there the last year or two on a sponsor or exemption. So I'm going to be playing tomorrow. PJ, you might come down. I might see a Congressional. I'm going to be over there. Then I'm playing a round of golf. I don't play much at all. Playing with our colleague, my podcast colleague, Joe House, none other than one of my favorite people. I'm going to need my sunscreen. I'm going to need my Orzen Alps. I'm going to have it lathered up when I go over to Congressional. I may miss you in the afternoon. We'll see. I've my first round really of the year. But I have my Orzen Alps, and you can too. If you go to orzenalps.com, use the promo code Shotgun15, you get 15% off. That's a good chunk of change. Memday 15 in the pro shop, Shotgun 15 at orzenalps.com. They got some new branding. New branding focusing on men. It's about time, men get more credit in the world. We put the focus on more men. Man needs more sun. This is what it says. That's right. Here's your formal invitation to spend less time behind your screens and more time outside with friends in the sun. Why? It's really good for your physical and mental health, and it makes us happier. Can it happen on the golf course? Absolutely. You know what? I can't quibble with any of that stuff. I think women could use more sun too. All of us humans could use more sun. But in particular, in this instance, men need more sun. You go to orzenalps.com, use the promo code Shotgun15. You get the hydrating antioxidant sunscreen spray, the face and scalp mist. If you're jammed, you're caught out there, you don't want to get the grease and the schmutz all over your hand. You just take out the spray, you go boom, boom. It's on you like a shield. Maybe Don Rea. What's their shield? Experience is their shield. You can use the face scalp mist as your shield from the sun. Matte sunscreen stick with SPS 50. The Clear Go stick. I mean, they've run the gamut. Everyday anti-aging face moisturizer. That's the 3-in-1. So it's like a skincare product. Anti-aging. That sounds good, but also protects your skin from the sun. Get outside. Get out from behind the screen. Use the promo code Shotgun15. All right, we've done the champs. We've done Colonial. Real quick on events that have been settled already this week. In the women's NCAA team event, Northwestern beat Stanford. A colossal upset. Stanford had not lost a stroke play event for the entire season. They're like the overwhelming favorite. They beat Northwestern by 29 strokes in the stroke play portion. 72 holes of stroke play at the first part of the championship, first half of the week as it is. And Northwestern clipped them in pretty dramatic fashion. I think it was 3 points to 2 points, whatever, 3 matches to 2 matches. And this provoked the sort of age-old debate of like, is match play the fairest way to decide this when Stanford is, I guess, clearly, is that the adjective or clearly the better team? 29 strokes better in match and stroke play, hasn't lost all year, won last year, one of an all-time teams, and they don't win 3 of their 5 match play. To her credit, Ann Walker, the coach of Stanford's like, look, we'd have a lot more titles if it were stroke play. But I get the juice that match play brings for television, and if growing the game and kids watching this is more entertaining and people were into it, then I'm all for it. And this was, I think, I was pretty magnanimous sort of perspective after you lose a championship in which you were heavily favored. And I don't know, is format decisive here? Does Stanford win this if the format is different?
Well, I mean,
Justin,
what are we talking about? Like, March Madness in college basketball is like one of the coolest ways to crown a champion. And part of that is that you get the deep run. Since when has been crowning the champion supposed to be a fairness test? Like that, I don't know. That line of thinking, I'm just very opposed to.
I think what we have is we have a sample size where they were 29 strokes better, literally the same week, and that's why it brings it up. Probably is why what makes. But the Cavs won 64 games this year, and
exactly.
Garland gets hurt and whatever, and the Pacers were just legitimately better, and all these things. That's like American sports, kind of in a nutshell, So
and playoff baseball, like notoriously unpredictable, and also the most popular part of the sport. Like, I don't know the idea that it needs to be a format. I mean, the NBA could do, instead of best of 7, could do best of 30 if you want to get, if you want to get the most fair outcome possible, or I guess an odd number, but you get the point. Yeah, that's crazy to me.
Maybe a reason to have a staggered leaderboard at your tour championship to better reward the season-long the dominance, or the playoff dominance, the hot playoff dominance when it matters most. Another result from earlier this week, 4-ball. Congrats to USGA 4-ball. We talked about that Mark Dahl going 1-2 and winning that first match, then losing on 18 in the second match. But the final, Will Hartman and Tyler Mawhinney, combined age 35, 17 and 18-year-old, beat up on Evan Beck and Dan Walters, who were reinstated amateurs, 34 and 40 years old. So the two teenagers. Now, these weren't kids like working the lemonade stand down the street from Plainfield. They're both going to Vanderbilt. I get that they're teenagers and they're 35 combined age. But, they're probably speed demons, and they're going to Vandy, and they're not nobodies. But, that made for a nice story where you beat, 17, 18-year-old beat up on 34 and 40-year-old. So that's your USGA 4-ball. All right. Let's get to US Open qualifying. That's news. Sergio, is he begging for a spot? He tweeted today about how, it
needs a miracle.
25 years in a row, unless by some small miracle. It's been such a great championship. He played well at Pinehurst last year, qualified and then played well early. Didn't maintain it all the way through, but was a game fighter.
He missed it by a shot. He finished like T12. He literally missed by a shot.
At Bentry Country Club in Dallas.
Last year. He would have top 10.
I see what you're saying. Okay, at Pinehurst. Yeah, had a great first round. I think he had no bogeys. It was just like a great Pinehurst round. At Bentry Country Club, our qualifiers are Rasmus Niergaard Peterson, James Hahn is coming to Oakmont. Adam Schenk, Lance Simpson, the amateur, Cameron Tankersley, the amateur, Carlos Ortiz of LIV, and Johnny Kiefer, who's been hot on the KFT. That's your Dallas qualifier. Sergio just missed, loaded with stars, loaded with pros because they're at Colonial this week. At Walton Heath, you had Jordan Smith, Joachim Lagergren, Guido Migliozzi, Frederick LaCroix with another sparkling performance from LaCroix, Sam Bairstow, Eduardo Molinari, Dodo Molinari, Jacques, I could never pronounce this to save my life, Krujwik, and Andrea Pavon, not to be confused with Pavon, the Italian, I believe, not a Frenchman. That's your Walton Heath. Oh, and in Japan, the other international final qualifier, Yuta Segura, Scott Vincent coming off. He's just been a doormat on LIV, Scott Vincent. A world player, pretty good in other tours, but he's just not found it. And Jinichiro Kazumo also on LIV. So those are your early qualifiers. We got golf's longest day coming, not this coming Monday, but the following Monday after Memorial. So
maybe, I feel like a buried story in all this, Brendan. We've been talking so much about could Keegan be a playing captain. Dodo playing some good golf this year.
You want him to be a top 12 player? He's more valuable as a stat head.
I'm just saying, he qualified for the US Open. What happens if he goes out there post a T4? Do we start having the put both Keegan and Dodo on the team conversation?
Preposterous. It's a preposterous notion. Padraig Harrington has a better chance. A lot the ball should be on there if we're going to start going crazy. Should Sergio get a spot? They've given out special exemptions to Price, VJ, Phil. I don't know if Tiger ever got to the US Open.
Tiger got one last year.
Can be, I don't know, it can feel cutthroat, right? The exemption's 10 years. The major win, if you win another major, it's 5. And that goes quickly. most champions at all the other 3 majors essentially get lifetime invites back. There's an age cutoff 60 and 65 at the Open and PGA. But it could feel a little cruel. Should Sergio get one? 25 years in a row, 25 consecutive U.S. Open. Joseph, should Sergio get a spot? Special exemption.
I don't love exemptions in general. And the idea of keeping a streak alive by giving an exemption feels a little bit counter to the spirit of a streak. So I wouldn't have a problem with it. He's playing good enough golf to compete, but I don't know. It just, to me, that defies the spirit of like the qualifying too. You went to the qualifier, which I respect, didn't qualify. Like, all right, that's the point. Like, that's how golf is supposed to be. So I don't know. I just tend to err on the side of meritocracy versus it just feels a little manufactured if you're keeping a streak alive by giving a handout. They didn't give Joe DiMaggio a hit when he was, 36 games in to keep his streak alive.
PJ?
Hits are arbitrary, so
what do you
could get some beneficial official scoring in a streak like that. No hitter, error, whatnot. We had one of those even this week. I would absolutely give Sergio one. I feel like if you're giving them out, like Tiger literally got one last year. I understand it's a little different that it's Tiger, but like Sergio is still a competitive golfer. To the point where I think absolutely Sergio should get one. If they give out a special exemption to anybody that is not Sergio, I think Sergio has a very good, right to be miffed at that point. And he will be, I'm quite sure.
They gave one to Arnold, obviously, at Oakmont because the local connection. Like, it's not uncommon. I think they should give him one. T12 last year, playing well, still competing. Like in competitive golf, but Lamont, you make a good point about like, then why are we doing the qualifying? It runs counter to like the point of trying to qualify. I
wouldn't have a problem with it. I mean, Sergio's actually playing good golf. I know his last couple starts haven't been good, but Sergio's playing well. But I have no issue with it. It just, I don't know. Debating the merits of these invites, it just gets a little subjective.
I mean, we just had 20 club pros, as you said, who have no business playing major championship golf. In the last major, giving a quick exemption to Sergio, who's like a top of the line competitive professional golfer, doesn't seem as egregious. Is that fair?
Speaking of handouts, did you see that the Travelers Championship just announced a commitment?
Who is it?
Do you want to guess?
Ricky?
Spieth has committed to the Travelers Championship. Signature event.
Must have written a good letter.
Well, Ricky committed like a month ago, so we're 2 down.
This is unbelievable.
Is it?
I mean, it's just the consistency they're just doing in front of our faces, like just nonstop. It's kind of crazy.
And the best part of all of it to me is that what is Ryder Cup? What are Ryder Cup points based on? Earnings. Mm-hmm. And so they get thrown into these $20 million no-cut events. And then like a couple months from now, when we get to September and we're talking about captain's picks, people will point to where they are in the standings. Like it does have real implications. So good for Spieth getting another handout.
Let's rip through news. What do you make of the new hot streak icon and the PGA Tour leaderboard? This is a big announcement today. The tour just won a sports Emmy for its like the whatever AR drone tracer or drone tracer, which is cool. It's super cool technology. They won a sports Emmy and then they won a I love the Sports Business Journal Awards gave them Deal of the Year between the Strategic Sports Group and the tour. Like who's what? How are we like measuring that? Who's in the running for Deal of the Year?
The Soto contract didn't get Deal of the Year.
I don't understand.
The Luka trade.
Yeah.
Rob Lowe, whatever his name is.
Rob Lowe.
Rob Pelinka. I mean, Rob Lowe, he may as well be, but yeah.
Yeah. Deal of the year.
I think
but
Sean
anyways, while they're
snubbed.
innovating with all their new money, they get the hot streak icon. Joseph, what do you make of this? There's a little, he's on fire, like flames on the leaderboard, your number. I don't know. Did we need it? Is it fine? They're dabbling. They're trying. As a data boy, what do you make of this?
I'm excited about it. I think, we might need to be the watchdogs here. I think it would be cool if we try to recreate the logic. It's probably proprietary, but maybe if we can recreate it and make sure that they're putting hot streaks where appropriate. Like, I want to know if a golfer comes in and is playing terribly and makes 2 pars to start a tournament, do they put the hot streak on? Because that's better than they've been playing. Like that, I want to see how these hot streaks can be applied. And I'd also like to see a cold streak. Why not have, if you're going to put the flames on the leaderboard, can we get a little ice when someone gets a little train wreck, starts making a couple double bogeys? Are we going to get calls from agents? Like, I think them getting into the emoji game on leaderboards has a lot of potential.
I mean, honestly, like a separate take, I was like, the tour wants to get serious about itself as like a true entertainment product with drama and stakes and characters and winners and losers and good guys and bad guys, quote unquote, in the competition. They need to start leaning into the drama, the poor play, the controversial characters. Like, you have the NBA, and we're talking about Luka here. The NBA for 3 months, basically every Mavericks broadcast was like a still camera on Nico Harrison's face. That's like, and then there was occasionally plays shown in between. The tour, if some guy's getting battered and bruised and beaten, like, they would run so far the other way and holler at their rights partner for, like, it's a massive story. And so I don't know. I think the tour and the way it's the coverage is, the CBS has done great and it really improved itself. I think this is more a holistic tour approach. Like you said, are we going to do cold streaks? Wow, man, Michael Block is tanking it off the edge of the cliff. Or Ricky stinks, been bad, getting these controversial exemptions. Could you imagine that being discussed in a way that, Nico Harrison by the rights partner is put on, essentially put like tarred and feathered every single broadcast when he's present? It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that they go that hard at Nico. Like, they show it, but I think
they
still
know it's a subject of interest, and they know what they're doing when they put him on.
I would love to see
Anthony Davis just fumbled it out of bounds. There's another, like, let's go to Nico. That's what they did.
To be fair, I do think there are a couple people who have been a little bit more critical. Like somebody on PGA Tour Live, I don't remember who it was, commentating, Spieth hit a bad putt, and they're like, wow, that was ugly. And I do think we've gone a little bit more critical than like 5 years ago, which is great.
Sure.
I think Trevor does a good job of, he'll call out bad shots, but I'm with you. There should be hey, like top 50 is how you get into the signature events. This golfer right now is not in the top 50. That storyline should be played out more. Tom Kim right now is playing bad golf. He was playing at Myrtle Beach in the opposite field event.
At Bentry at the sectional. WD'd from, they all do if it doesn't look like you're going to make it. So
that's a big story. Like, he's playing at Colonial this week, and he was not on pace to be in signature events next year. Like, those types of things, I think, are a compelling part of this. But again, when you hand out sponsor exemptions like they do to Spieth, it doesn't necessarily mean you're not going to be in the signature events. Like, this is all part of why the drama needs to be a little bit more cutthroat.
I mean, if Ricky is an interesting enough character and promotional figure to give sponsors exemptions for everything, then he's clearly important and a main character. Why are you not talking about like how it might be controversial, how there's some debate over why he's here or how he's been playing recently? It's pumping up the story of the PGA Tour, of the traveling circus that is your product. I don't know. They won't do that though. They'll shy away from it, but maybe they put a cold streak icon up there.
Even related, I think there's not a lot of analysis in general on why players are struggling, swing changes they're going through and stuff. Like, that would just be cool to get a little bit more insight, because oftentimes I think people are afraid to talk to those players.
I'm being asked to confirm on my text message came across my desk that 53-year-old Philip Archer, can you confirm he got an albatross on 16 at Congressional? He's got a 2 on the card. That hole is hard. It's a very hard. It's wet. I think Ernie said he hit driver. I think he said driver off the driver on 16 at Congo. I would be shocked, but still, if 53-year-old Philip Archer got a 2 on 16 at Congressional, congrats to him. Me need to verify that one. That's
cooler
where it
than a hole in
stands on
one
the card right now. Motor City Golf Club is here. We talked about this. It's not here, actually. We have another year. I don't know why. It's 4 guys and a screen. They don't need to build the practice facility or the front office or do an expansion draft. But we're waiting a year. The Motor City Golf Club is here. PJ, as a former Detroit resident, are you very excited about this? Where do you think they fit in? You got to wait 16 months or something.
I legitimately think Ricky Fowler's contract situation is playing a part in why they're waiting a year. I don't know how these contracts work. I don't know anything. I mean, if you're NYGC, you're taking a look around at the roster and you're thinking maybe can we get out of some of these? Maybe can we get out of all of these? I don't know. But I think how could you not have effectively the mayor of Detroit on Motor City Golf Club?
Who would you want? PJ, who would you want? Who do you want?
Well, a lot of people have been
throwing
throwing
some Burley boys last.
A lot of people have been throwing Mav McNeely out there because he and his siblings are all named after like American cars. If you're doing the Motor City,
okay.
I feel like that makes sense. Now this is a team owned by the Ford family. If you're Mav McNeely, some of his brothers might be named after like
Chevys.
Cadillac or GM.
Okay.
Yeah, that might be bad.
Okay.
So we'll see what happens on that. But yeah, like you look down the list. I think the tank makes sense as
absolutely
could go out there, practice with the Lions. Lions could use a guard, get some interior offensive line work in. I think Cam Davis, again, dominant in Detroit. Got to have the home game models there. Akshay could have won the Rocket Mortgage last year, arguably should have won the Rocket
That's
Mortgage.
A good one.
Could get some viral moments, and I feel like kind of fits the TGL mold in there. So there's a handful of guys. Obviously,
there's a ceiling here, though, unlike
yes,
stars or
because you would think if you're going for the top tier guys, if this Dallas team is ever happening, you would think that the 2 biggest names available are shoe-ins there. You would imagine if they even do it.
And Dallas is a big part of their identity, and it's like there's actually a fit there. Lamania, do you have thoughts on expansion in the TGL and what players are we going to now?
PJ hit most of the ones that I was after. I think with Ricky, you have the motorsports too. He's a motorsports guy, so that just adds to it. Only other name I really had, Matt Wolf, finished second at Detroit the year of Bryson, and I was thinking with the turfed area, he could bring his dog. They could get a little a little potty section, like at an airport, a little turf section. He wouldn't even have to spend time away from his dog. So I think there's some good synergy there.
Like that one. Bubba was on McAfee. I don't watch that program. I don't have anything against it. I just don't have the time. What was uttered? I was told it was sort of mind-bending appearance. Do you have any report from the McAfee, Bubba Watson? He's promoting, I believe, the Indianapolis event that's not until mid-August, the Live Indy event. What did he have to say on McAfee?
Man, I wish I did watch it. I know he did a full press tour, stopped by the Indianapolis Colts locker room, went to the Indiana Fever game. So he's promoting that Indy event. He said this before, but I didn't realize that range goats, the GOAT stands for golfers on a team, that's part of the double meaning there. I missed that the first time that came out.
What were these guys looking? Were they looking at him like, why am I doing this interview?
McAfee's take on Live Golf is that he loves the team aspect, but the music doesn't quite do it for him. It's a little unserious. So
that's what it is. Okay, interesting. All right.
Yeah,
thought he was speaking to the youth generation. Okay.
Bubba talked a lot about how they're not even competing with the PGA Tour because the PGA Tour is only in America and this is global. This is F1, which is the consistent talking point. But I feel like there were a couple other things I'm struggling to recall.
They are released today. The Live Duels is proliferating. It's becoming a series, which I think, quite honestly, makes sense for them. Should this just be the league? Should it be a creator league? I do like there was a quote in the press release, like, this is actually athlete plus creator, and that doesn't happen that often. I know there's breaking 50, but the Tours one is just, creator versus creator. But seems like they got the Bryan brothers. They got their hooks into the Bryan brothers. So they're going to have duels at Virginia. I got to figure out if I can get over to that. Duels at the RTGA. That's going to be on the Brian Bros Golf YouTube channel. The Duels at Dallas, TBD apparently on the YouTube channel, because wasn't it on Horvat's one in Miami? So they're letting the individual creators distribute this, which is interesting. Signed up are Horvat, the Brian Bros, Nick, quote, Fat Perez, as he's known. Nick, I'm just going to start. That seems, they're undercutting the branding there. Nick Perez, Rick Shields, Luke Kwan, and more. So this is becoming a series. So they got Virginia, Dallas, UK, and Chicago. 4 more. Have they come over the top on the tour here? Do they have the prime creators? I'm not familiar with this space. Do they have a better sort of creator game set up? PJ, thoughts? I know you're an ardent follower of all these contests.
Yeah, you know me. I'm absolutely, locked in on all of this. I will say that I think I understand why the tour wants the Creator Classic to be at least the current setup that they have, in that it's like live, played in front of people, live streaming, everything is live. But as a viewer at home, it's like a horrendous product, whereas LIV, it's all post-produced and like a normal YouTube golf video, and I think that is like a huge advantage to this end. Like I think honestly that might be like the full stop, long and short of it, is that LIV is a better viewing product for this type of thing at the end of the day,
as opposed to live Wednesday afternoon for whatever. Isn't it like 5 hours, or isn't it like 4 hours to play 9 or 12 or whatever? Lamani, do you have any reaction to the format or the proliferation of the creator duels?
Not really, to be honest, Brendan. I am wondering at what point I need to actually learn about some of these creators. Like, when does that become relevant to covering professional golf?
That's
So
interesting.
We might
The
be
Bryan
getting there.
brothers seem to have fully defected, though. I know there's been some sort of controversy over that. They're continuing on. Let's get to golf advice, but not before we do a read for our friends from Maui Nui Venison. It's the cleanest red meat in the world. It offers the only 100% wild harvested meat that's completely stress-free and responsibly sourced. It's perfect for anyone looking to elevate their meals with a delicious, high-quality protein. It's literally some of the cleanest protein in the world. My 10-year-old son was on the chomping on the sticks last night, just ripping. He's a picky eater, like the pickiest little MFer. Like the mac and cheese has to be yellow instead of white cheese and can't be shells. Like picky little eater. And he was ripping through one of the venison sticks. Big into those. And super clean, great protein. That's all the rage these days. Shotgun Stars can get a limited collection of our favorite cuts and products when you go to MauiNuiVenison.com/SGS. That's Maui, like the island, MAUI, Nui, NUI, MauiNuiVenison.com/SGS to secure your access now. This isn't like a never-ending resource. They don't have, conveyor belt just creating food out of nowhere. They go out, they harvest the deer, and what they get is what you were able to purchase. And it's like they've got this mobile processing facility. This has been great. Really, for high-performing individuals. Like my 10-year-old might be getting there. He's got straight A's. He does well on some of the athletic fields. Maybe he's getting into Maui Nui. Go to Maui Nui Venison. I chop them up. I put them in like rice bowls. So they got cuts. They got the sticks, which is a great snack. Just throw them on the counter when you're hungry. You get something good for yourself. MauiNuiVenison.com/SGS. All right, let's go to golf advice. A little Friday golf advice to send us out. The subject line: did I ruin my life by joining a TPC course? Married, mid-30s, no kids, and couldn't have less interest in fighting. After a decade of public golf in Boston area that's seen tee times become impossible, rounds push 5.5 to 6 hours, and greens fees that navigate north of $100 for an average course and $150 for nicer ones, I finally convinced my wife to take the leap to a private course. We toured a few of the more realistic ones, and we were surprised to learn that TPC Boston was not only open to new members, but also within reach financially. We've been members there for a couple of years and have loved it. The membership and staff are beyond friendly. The events are always the right mix of fun and competitive, and at least from our perspective, the course is always in great shape and has a bunch of really fun holes. It's also been a point of pride to be able to bring my family and friends out and watch them enjoy themselves for a day out at the course. Not to mention how awesome it was to have the LPGA out last year and energy they brought to the course. But over the last few months, it seems like it has become open season on TPC courses in the golf world. From Rory to my favorite golf podcasters, people have been lining up to just pile on these venues. I can't help but wonder if we are too eager to join, and while courses like Brookline or Boston Golf Club would obviously be out of reach for us, would we have been better off joining a much lesser known club or just even sticking with the public golf life? Please help talk me off the ledge if there's a path to golf world coming back around on TPC courses. Okay. I feel horrible about this. No, first of all, the TPC is not a monolith. There are some bad TPC courses. There are notably better and good TPC courses. Boston, I would say, is on the higher end of TPC courses, in my opinion, as a venue. I don't know about facilities and all the other stuff. It's not bad. What is it, Norton? I went out there a few times when I was at BC. Look, man.
Way to really build them up. It's not bad.
Well, like, play where you can play. I don't fault you at all. What we criticize it is as a tour, as a professional tour that goes to sort of anodyne garbage courses that for the tour event. And TPC Craig Ranch is not the same as TPC Sawgrass, is not the same as TPC River Highlands, is not the same as TPC Boston. And so the criticism there is as a tour with sort of not infinite resources, but substantial resources. It's not an interesting professional golf product. But as someone who lives in a major metropolitan area where it's expensive to join a club and all the public golf is, crappy or expensive, or 6-hour rounds, or you got to have your act together 2 weeks in advance to get a tee time. No, I have no criticism. Be proud of where you're joined. The point is playing golf. It's playing golf, whatever the field is. And I would feel great about being a member at a TPC course if you can get out there, you like it, it fits you and your family, and you enjoy it. And not all of us are wiping our ass with $20 bills to join, these places that like Brookline that you cite. And so, no, this is great. It makes you happy. It makes your family happy. Absolutely. Is that a fair response? Or do you think he should feel ashamed and quit his club, Lamagna? How do you feel?
I don't think people should feel ashamed of belonging anywhere.
Yeah.
First off. But also to your point, like I think there are some great TPC golf courses. I don't have an overarching TPC means bad. Like TPC Sawgrass is awesome. I love TPC. I like TPC San Antonio, not necessarily to play every day, but it's a cool golf course. Like TPC Scottsdale, cool golf course. So I'm not a hater by any stretch. I think, people should be proud of wherever they belong. If they enjoy it, who cares?
PJ, as a frequenter of recently of TPC Jasna, whatever that was in Jersey, TPC River Highlands, we're going to get you on the TPC beat. Do you have thoughts on this as a 26-year-old who might be in the market for joining a country club soon? Maybe we'll get you a junior membership at one of those fancy places on Long Island.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm anywhere close to that, but we'll see. I mean, listen, I think TPC Boston, at least it's like I don't know. I feel like I would be kind of like touting that to people, and maybe I'm wrong because I don't know anything, but like I would be fired up to say I'm a member at a course where they played the Northern Trust and whatever. Like, doesn't Scotty have the course record at TPC Boston? Like,
he broke 60
just,
there, I think.
Yeah,
right?
It's just like cool to say that. I feel like that's just that might just be me, but I would be fired up to have that kind of like card in my pocket
for where you are, where you're like. Sure, like we all sometimes swim in different pools, and the guy who's made of money or his dad made of money, like, and has access, sure, he might look down on the TP, but dude, just play golf where you can get on and play, and if it makes you happy and your family happy, who gives a shit?
Also, zooming out, TPC Boston's not one of those that gets made fun of in that way.
No,
it's not.
It's not. There's just but undeniably there is some sort of negative branding or connotation when you say TPC lately. It is.
That's on this podcast, on like in certain circles.
I think in architecture circles, maybe, and obviously in golf elitist circles,
Right,
I would
right.
imagine. I got to go play national, and like all these different.
But the typical person you're talking to, child, like parent of your kid at school or something, does not have a negative association with the TPC network. Come on, Brendan, what are you talking about?
Maybe, I don't know.
That is such a bubble. No way.
I'll have to go down to Avenel and see what they're saying. Go down to those
No
people
way.
at Congo are probably got a negative comment. I don't know. All right, next email from Jared. Gambling Pod Gaff. This is more for PJ. It's an interesting one.
Cool.
50 years old and zero interest in fighting. However, I refuse to allow my kids to get food delivered. You go pick it up. What? On the recent pod, you covered how Scotty Majors over-under was a ridiculous number at 9.5. While I agree that what I would have hoped you would have covered was the angle from the bookmaker's point of view. Taking wagers now that don't expire until 2040 is great for them. There's inflation. Bettors may die or forget. If the bettors stay, the lifetime value of the customers is well worth setting a sucker line. As a premier gambling pod, I would have thought you might have at least factored that in. Great product. Thanks for all you do. He makes a good point.
My argument would be if you want, from that standpoint, if you want the action so bad, it just shouldn't be 9.5. It should be like 6.5, because then people would really bet it. If you're setting it at 9.5, like, no offense, even though I think I'd make money off of it, I'm not going to tie up money for 15 years taking the under on 9.5. That's not a fun way to live life. But you could convince people to take over 5.5, 6.5, whatever it is, because they think it's going to be a lock, and you're not going to see that money for however many years. Yeah, but I think I would think about it that way.
His point, though, if you said it 6.5, like Scotty could cash that in a couple of years. Like, this is what he's saying. If Scotty's going to get to 10, it's going to take a long time anyway. So they could invest that money in T-bills and they'd still be doing okay.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I just, my thing is there any action on 9.5? Are people realistically going to take that? Like, I don't know.
Probably some dreamers. This guy, isn't it about fun? Isn't it about fun? I mean, I guess it is about profit and loss. First, a bet like this is about just whatever, getting your rocks off, having a little bit of fun and checking in. There's that great one of Rory's dad, right? Before when gambling was only legal in the UK and before we were waterboarded with it every 10 seconds here with picks, go to this site and get your 20%, no sweat, whatever bullshit. Before we were waterboarded with gambling here, and it was like Ladbrokes or whatever it was over in the UK, his dad did some bet like Rory will win the Open by forget whatever age, 25, whatever it was. And he just cashed it. I think a not insignificant amount of money at the 14 Hoylake. That was like a good one. That's fun, right? And you obviously has a personal connection there, but it is an interesting play. You're just doing this. Presumably you're not putting like $10,000 down on this kind of wager.
They're not letting you put $10,000 down on this.
Lamagna's got some great OBO takes, official betting partners, about. You're not a fan of some of the tactics, are you?
No, there were some hearings the past couple of weeks. It might be a good topic to dive into at some point on some fried egg medium.
Not a fan. Oh, by the way, we're exploring a deal with. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Sponsorship deal. All right. Next email. This is less advice, more intel. Colonial Monday Pro-Am, David Frost was the subject line. Let me tell you, I opened that email. That one got opened quickly. Hello, 32, one kid. I'll have a Donnybrook. I like that. I was invited to play as a part of the Colonial Monday Pro-Am. I was thrilled to see we had David Frost as our pro. No, not as just sort of a dignitary to take you around and chat you up, but he's in the field. He's playing this week. David Frost, that's our pro. I didn't know anything about Frosty. I wonder if this is what is you get on terms with them after Pro-Am. He's Frosty now. I didn't know anything about Frosty, so I assumed he was just an old they flew in to entertain the big spenders. It was a very windy Monday, and he hit lumber into all the par fours almost, and 2 of the par threes, if I remember right. Just wailing away. Here's some high points. Some of his bits almost felt like he was doing a Gary Player impersonation. BS stories, grandiose tales, all of it. He's, of course, I think, a South African. He tried to sell us wine nonstop. Did you know he sold wine? I did know this. This is a thing with David Frost wine label. He sold wine. He had the logo on his hat and made sure we all had his business cards with his website to buy the wine. He told one of the players his 3-wood shaft was too whippy and no way he should hit it. The player proceeded to hook said tee shot with the 3-wood and it didn't come out of the bag again. He took one of our players, Scotty Cameron putters, bent it over his knee and asked the player how he liked it now.
What?
I'm trying to understand what the next move is there. It seemed like did he give him a new one? Doesn't seem like it. His son caddied for him, and on 15, he hooked his first approach shot into the water left of the green, dropped a second ball, and hit another into the creek. As we got to the green, his son told him, "This is the last ball." And Frosty just admonished him. "What? Last ball? You only brought 6? It was excellent theater." I love that. Frosty not being able to get to a practice round with 6 balls at Colonial. It was an excellent experience and a great follow-up from being paired with Zach Johnson last year at the Colonial Monday Pro-Am. So we got an emailer's play with Zach and Frosty the last 2 years at Colonial. So yelling at his kid for bringing only 6 balls. Pretty good. I don't understand the bending the putter over. The guy signs up for a Pro-Am and you break his putter?
Wait, yeah. Hold on. You mentioned like 8 things, all like none of them. I mean, they're all amusing, but like, all right, ran out of balls, like said this shaft's too whippy.
Buy my wine. Yeah.
Bending the putter over the knee. Hold on. That's completely different.
What do you do? Golf advice. What are you doing if the pro
different.
breaks one of your clubs? Was the guy mad at his putter? You're asking him to replace it, right? Like to call Scotty Cameron now and get me a new one. Or what, would you give me one of your 10,000 backups?
David Frost took the guy's putter out of his bag and bent it over his own knee and said, "How do you like it now?" I'm just
reading the email. Took one of our players, Scotty Cameron putters, bent it over his knee and asked the player how he liked it now.
Absolutely. I'm following up on that. I might be talking to somebody at Charles Schwab. Like, that's insane. What are we?
Why is it Charles Schwab's fault? What did he do?
Well, I don't mean I'm asking somebody at Charles Schwab. I think I'd probably bring it up. There's no, the tour, like they would probably want to rectify that situation for somebody who paid to be in the Pro-Am and ended up losing their putter as a result of David Frost bending it over their knee. I feel like we just glossed over that in that explanation with the lost balls, the shaft and stuff. That is a completely different class of action.
I need to follow. I'll follow up and understand if there was more. If this was like a jovial thing, it was a sacrifice. I hate this putter, and like it was given clearance to do so. It's very bizarre. We don't have many more details or context. Maybe Blocky or Dylan Block can say we're taking this out of context and get more for us on the ground. PJ, any thoughts on the Frosty? Love that he's hitting lumber into all the par 3s and 4s.
He's 5 over.
Damn.
Well, is he using that guy's bent putter?
I don't know.
He's losing a stroke and a half putting.
Good question.
Maybe he's just like anti-Scotties and is like a big, like, ping guy. I don't know. Maybe it's just a vendetta that he's carried throughout his career. No, that's insane. I'd love to know what. I guess if you played with Zach last year, you're kind of just showing up expecting anything. Like when you get your tee assignment,
former Colonial champion. Zach.
What do you?
I guess Frosty is too.
Like, I don't know. Like, what is your reaction if you opened up your email or your text from whoever it was like you're playing with David Frost? But again,
I think he had the right reaction. He thought it was just an old they flew in to entertain, not a guy in the field.
Yeah, but would you be disappointed about that? Is my question, that you just got some random old, or are you like
no?
That's one of the best names in the field. That's probably one of the best names in the field to get paired with.
Yeah.
What
do you make of that exemption, Lamagna? That if you won it before 2000, you basically have an invitation in perpetuity.
I think I've just come to realize about the golf world that the more ridiculous stuff, the better. And as much as we advocate for, let's have better venues, like if that kind of stuff results in Lanny Watkins not getting to oversee $15 million projects at TPC Craig Ranch, like I don't want that golf world. So sure, let's have ridiculous exemptions. Let's have Don Rea I'm with it.
My favorite response to the Don Rea, like people picked up on it. This guy's just trying to get to the video. A Bob Roltella, not the actual guy, but a parody account. I find myself repulsed by this ass clown who is using the entire PGA as a vehicle for his personal ego stroking. Attempted to create a cult of personality of president of the PGA is equal parts bizarre and distasteful. This main character energy needs to stop. Cheers. So that's from a tweeter to his essay about that rain. I love that. I enjoy, and I'm just the messenger. Actually, I don't know if I support that message. It seemed pretty vitriolic, but I don't disagree with some of the merits of it.
I disagree completely. Sorry, but
right.
Don Rea, Jordan Hudson, those are some of my favorite characters in sports right now. You see an opportunity, you go for it.
Jordan, what essay are we getting tomorrow? PJ, what guesses do we have for the Don Rea content tomorrow? Is he talking about Congress, Washington D.C.? What's he doing? What's he tying in? What's the essay subject?
I mean, I feel like in D.C., capital of America, very patriotic weekend, Memorial Day weekend. I feel like it's right there for the taking, right? You got to bring the America. He touted that he had his American socks on last week in his Get Ready With Me.
Man.
Because he was an American. I feel like this is a red-blooded patriot here. I feel like we got to get the Memorial Day tie-in at some point.
Good God. We saw how syrupy he got about rain. The pros was about just rain.
Yeah.
I mean, he could really get himself in trouble talking about, the sacrifices made so, Mario Tiziani could hit a 4-wood into 9. That could not be good. But I'm sure he could get real syrupy and emotional on that. Maybe that's where he goes.
What's the forecast tomorrow?
I think it's supposed to be better. I think we're good. I think we're in the clear. I got to have my Oars and Alps for a round in the afternoon. PJ, you want to meet up for dinner? You want to come over?
Sure.
We're supposed to go to a concert on Saturday. We need a sitter. You want to watch on Saturday night? We're supposed to go to Sturgill Simpson.
Sure.
Come over, take care of the kids.
Yeah, I'm
play
ready.
PS5 with them. I'm excited for you to get to a proper major championship this weekend. It's a good spot. I'm not just saying that because it's in the neighborhood. I've had it's gotten better. Congressional. It's really good. I think it got a good review on Friday Golf Club. A good profile of it from Garrett is up. We're resharing this week. So
fair.
I think that does it. Anybody else? You got any sign off thoughts before you head to the weekend? No. In seriousness, everyone enjoy it. It's a 3-day weekend here, obviously for solemn reasons. So think about that a little bit. Enjoy the extra day off. Enjoy the golf from both Congressional, La Costa, Colonial, El Chameleon, if that's your thing. If you want to watch the cenote, the cave bunker, and all that stuff. Enjoy the weekend. We're very grateful for your continued support of this podcast. We'll be back talking about all the weekend golf next Monday.